Hello, good day, good afternoon, and welcome to the news. This edition is a little bit of a satirical entry of a fictitious satire of a theatre play that is made. It is just poetry, and it is being a reading for this little play. And here it goes. It's a punk song, little random poetry thing that's just blurting different sounds, aspects of sounds that are adding up to this poetry for today. Welcome and thank you, and sit and enter and have a good time and feast and chill and listen to the news, as here we go. We're ramping up to the news. We're ramping up to the news. Welcome to the news. How do you do? What are we doing today? We're focusing on poetry, focusing on theoretical theater, satire, satirical interests in nature. How do we connect witches and manufacturing and non-profit organizations to be able to all collaborate and coincide and consolidate their efforts and their energies together? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. What we're trying to do, in essence, is we're trying to connect with the 55 initial establishing countries that are within the territories that have to do with certain elements that are combining and elements that have to do with chemistry to be able to make the right coalescence to begin with in the first 55 countries that are sort of instrumental in developing a United Nations of our own, which has to do with just a hypothetical gathering of energies to be able to connect the territories. Oh yeah, we're trying to connect all world unified non-profit organization energy. That is what this little satirical theatrical play is all about, even though it's just like a normal episode of the news for the most part in essence. Yeah, but in essence we're just trying to be a little more sporadic with it and talking about it in like more of a poetic sense, so that we're just kind of jumping around the two different sides to be able to consolidate and collaborate and be able to consolidation revolving around the consolidating aspects and efforts and energies of non-profit organizations around the whole world. Okay, focused territories on time and time, somewhat attempting to better connect and connection and processes with the flow in 55 territories to unite all new non-profits and you non-profit folks and you extensions of non-profits and extenders and extensions that extend to beyond extent. Oh yeah, philanthropic organizations in a united way, in the United Nations, in the World Health Organizations, in Greenpeace, in functional other organizations that are able to come together, oh, by one little string that comes down to games for change, changing for games. Oh yeah, in this poetry we all are coming together and acknowledging that we're all under one roof. Oh yeah, it's called the sky, whatever that means. It's also the clouds are covering us all, the same ones. Oh yeah, the water vapor is able to transport in a similar wormhole speed of light tubular element to be able to transition and transpose itself to other sides of the world just by being an electricity and the nature of electricity combining certain water molecule elements. When you break them down, they add up to various powers and energies based on molecule energy that is powering them, and they revolve and they circulate. Oh yeah, just like the 55 countries that are establishing nations for us to be able to try to search for businesses to be able to transition into new hands and to be sold into new ways that can be expanded in different phases and be malleable to transition into various territories across the world from when they're first bought, so that we hopefully are partnering with people that have malleable mindsets and want to expand in the international sense, and we have other partnerships to be able to help try to spread that energy, like the water cloud vapor energy, water that's connected by electricity to other aspects of the sky, because the whole electric ecosystem is connected in that way. And that is why we're trying to unite all non-profit organizations around the world. Oh yeah, yeah. Somehow bettering our connections with all non-profit organizations around the world. We're trying to use childbooks to be more connected with the childlike element of the mindset and be able to connect with that child element of the world in terms of parents and parental connections and guidance over their kids, so that child books from the podcast we can derive child books and then be able to connect with parents and be able to connect with kids in first-hand senses and be able to actually target the demographic of children, to be able to try to ultimately connect with all the non-profits in the world, to be able to connect with all nonprofits in the world, to be able to connect all nonprofits in the world, to be able to connect them with children, and be able to make that a circulating sort of energy, a sort of a flywheel, if you will, a flywheel device, being able to pull and push the turbines to be able to start the engine and start the flight. In this way, like a two-turbo system, in essence, you have children and nonprofits in the world turbining on both ends and pushing and pulling energies, so that we have a unique demographic from the ground up, and the ground up demographic of children knows how to play with nonprofits together, and nonprofits and children are able to play in a fundamental sense going forward, and the nonprofits are able to learn from children how they play games. Oh yeah, and we're watching time, and we're also conceptually in a witch factor way, like witches and which time, and watches, and which watch are you watching? Oh, for the time, in which world the time is twisted. It's not the regular time, it's a different type of time, and quantum physics and quantum leaping is possible in which world, because when you read witch books, time is not a thing at all, and it's able to be bent and misconstrued, and therefore you can do quantum leaps into different vessels that allow you through nature to be able to connect with items similar to cloud particles that are able to jump from one side of the world to the other, because the whole ecosystem is connected, and when there's a fundamental connection, the transposition can take place and the energies can be swapped, simple as that, through electricity. Oh, which is another powerful source of energy. Okay, what I mean by that in terms of conceivably manufacturing watches, since we want to conceivably manufacture jewelry, is a way to symbolize time in this fashion, so that we are able to consolidate our time to focus energies on uniting all nonprofit organizations and philanthropies. Oh, the world is so small, and connecting with children in the space, and like a space truck, if we had a space truck, if you took our little idea of vehicles, if you look at cannar.weebly.com, we have a little vehicle that we tried to make back in the day, a few days ago, but in time, in our time world, it is a bit misconstrued what time is necessarily. So it just was like yesterday, in essence, and we have the design still on cannar.weebly.com. Oh, yeah, you can see our little space truck there. It's meant to be able to float into space, because that's what it's doing now, conceptually, when you look at it on that website. That's how now, metaphorically, it is meant to be served as that purpose, as a mental vehicle, and it's floating in space, because there is no gravity in your mind. So flow with that, yeah, and this little satire, please, while watches and witches combine, and children and nonprofit organizations combine, and they all collaborate in a circular engine turbine sense, and they're turboing each other back and forth. Okay, push and pull. This is like a new form of the advertising news, where everyday games and such things for change for games is the new film industry. So advertising is on these platforms and around new games, just like in a soccer stadium. Oh yeah, advertising is on that. So this is also like the advertising news in a certain sense, as we do this news. Oh yeah, and we qualify teammates, and we start qualifying teammates, and we start quantifying teammates based on measurements that are circulating around our energies. And so it's like an organic collaboration based on, we put out certain energies, and then certain circulating energies around us is able to gravitate and be able to make measurements of certain energies that is gravitating towards us. And therefore that's how we want to develop and coincide with certain collaborations and connections in the future, and develop teammates and such, to be able to start working with other people and such things. Like, so for example, in the UK, we're looking that way. Oh yeah, and we got like the World Health Organization, for example, to be able to try to work with. And in Asia, you got unified countries and nonprofits to unite, such as Global Citizen, the large organization that's out of New York City that has connections and ties all around the world. And we want to use the Tom Shoes model to be able to do like one-for-one giving and such things around the world, because if you make a sale and then you give back after that sale, it's like having the tailpipe exhaust of a business vehicle become philanthropic energy. So you have to go up, down, and then hedge your backside and continue to try to grow this way. You gotta try to grow your defense as your strongest offense. In essence, with your defense as your strongest offense, you want to have hedges in place to be able to lean back on certain organizations and reliable strength partnerships that is stronger than other energies, to be able to keep the flywheel spinning between children and our games around the world in a fundamental sense, so the children are the first people to be spoken to at all given times in terms of demographic to be speaking to them, so that they're the newest ones to be able to speak to pre-existing philanthropic organizations, and then hopefully new philanthropic organizations are able to pop up all over the world because philanthropic energy is the core of business. Oh yeah, and we have competent business people connecting with philanthropic organizations as the new frontier for businesses, because that essence of life is meant to get stronger as philanthropy and giving becomes the most powerful source and force of art and media in the world. So children, as of now, and nonprofit organizations are able to unite this way through products as well. And as we make our jewelry and our watches and our interesting product features that revolve around wearables and accessories that have also precious metals on them, because we want to exchange those and trade those into philanthropy energy, we want to look for symbols and people to be like in the world. You've got Gary Vaynerchuk and V-Friends who's posting like NFTs, and those are symbols with utilities, yeah. And the symbols of our childbooks are also meant to be NFTs that are supposed to serve as certain utility, because those symbols are meant to transpose and translate to certain actions on the back end as a hopeful interest for fulfilling those actions, so that those eventually also can turn into philanthropy energy once they go down a chain and such through the pipeline of content making on the front end, and then traveling into the mechanism which shifts it from the turbines, from the children to the adults, to non-profit organizations, to games, to then be able to be the global giving games that then transpires and translates into, again, philanthropic energy, which is the tail end exhaust from all of the business vehicles which we hope to touch and grace our presence with in a social media socialization sense around the globe, so everybody is included. It's all inclusive all the time in the global games, yeah. And there's scores that are ultimately in an organic way being cranked out from the backside of the games being played, are measurements that measure, again, our gravity towards those folks and those people, and we want those to be our greatest collaborations and connections in times when they're scoring on the games, that those are our closest partnerships and sponsorships to be able to represent the games and push forward in terms of sponsorships to be able to also have the greatest, unique, most interesting products to be able to support and sponsor and influence with, so they have the biggest influence and impact for the best products to be able to win and progress in the games for all children and nonprofits in the world to be able to unite and act like a turbine and a turbo to spin the flywheel on an ongoing sense. And like Matt Gray, I've spoken about in the past, is like an NFT. He's like a symbol as an NFT sense for like an art agency, like an AI agency, as an AI art agency, marketing agency, because he uses tools and wireframing to be able to make systems that are energetically charged in a certain sense, like a portfolio is energetically charged, and like Warren Buffett talks about his portfolio like an art piece, in essence, in a same way with Matt Gray. He's got different wireframing techniques to be able to combine that with creative content development in a similar way to Warren Buffett, to be able to make that portfolio flow like an engine and energy around the world, like an art piece engine that has different pieces that flows around the page like it's an art piece that flows like it's something on the same paper. But it all flows together like a similar energy, and that's what we're talking about by making our own NFTs, by continuing to make these collaboration NFTs as well. They're all engines and such, but symbols. And on the back end, they have mechanics and mechanisms in the blockchain, which is able to connect with mechanisms and such things that have to do with children connecting with nonprofit organizations and games around the world, the global giving games, like the Olympics, like the new form of the Olympics. Oh yeah, we're trying to develop context in a contextual sense, like an orchestra is able to develop context to be able to, for the global giving games and the blockchain to be able to be more so like an interconnected, interweaving software that has to do with the new world, with AI and AI agents, be able to connect with this process and such things to be able to organically develop new philanthropy and philanthropic energy through AI agents, and the innate organic interest to be able to better people's lives in every single country of the world and every single human as a very valuable resource of energy, as the single source of energy that's actually spinning and spawning the whole planet's energy from the source, because we all are all as one. So children and philanthropic organizations are meant to contextually connect and contextually construe each other as like an orchestra, playing as each other as like an instrument and a vibe that goes in one side, not the other, like a wireframe and such, though every transaction is like has monetary energy on the front end, but philanthropy energy on the back end of the tailpipe exhaust of that business vehicle. Oh yeah, and we're trying to improve and get a complete full suite of tools through our collaborations. We're getting a full suite of e-tools, like electronic tools, like AI tools, like AI agents, and such things that are agents for agents and agents and agents for agents and agents, so we can extend to the largest possible extensions of our perpetual energy as a company and a brand, environment, space, and place for the world to exist in furthermore time and ways. And investment and impact in investment is in a future sense by large venture capital firms going to look into the soothsayer community and SRF health, which means self-realization fellowship health, which has to do with the interpersonal energy as like formats and forms to be able to solve health problems and such things, indeed by using human energy and such things. Oh yeah, by contextualizing, recontextualizing, and redirecting internal human energy and actually trying to commodify that. Oh yeah, and that will become more popular because that is already on the rise in terms of acknowledging this energy and such things and how it is unique. Oh, and having soothsayer friends is also part of the team member and team growth process and such things as we echo in our space of our community games. We're echoing in our space of the community global giving games. And yeah, we're still trying to work on the locations for the vlog, working on the locations for the vlog between NYC and SK, which stands somewhat for South Korea, but I don't know if we'll get there right away. It's a bit unclear, but we're trying to have locations that jump around similar to a little water particle in the cloud that jumps around from one part of the sky on the earth to the other just through electricity. And we want locations to be able to be like gravity, and we're using AI art to be able to contextualize and redevelop messages. That is interesting in a certain way that connects, oh yeah, the childlike mindset and child and children of all the world and parents as well with nonprofit organizations and philanthropies every day like a turbine. Oh yeah, we want to develop like 400K worth of add energy, marketing energy on a day-to-day basis in place, ongoing value scales and adoptions as tech hopefully allows for more posting and expensive marketing presence to be more cheap and freely available and influence the tools that our agency using certain AI tools allows us to be using chemistry to be able to develop the chemistry that yesterday and years past used to cost a lot of money and used to cost 400K, for example. So we're trying to develop 400K into new energy of marketing energy, for example, through our chemistry making processes and tools to be able to make different marketing energy through our own energy to be able to focus on the energy that we've got to make yesterday's energy outdated so that today's energy is 400K worth in terms of monetary energy, in terms of 4X, in terms of what today's energy and marketing energy costs. So we're able to use chemistry to be able to develop new energies that equals to 400K of value of yesterday's marketing costs on a consistent day-to-day basis, like an NES game, like a Super Nintendo game. Oh yeah, I mean like a regular Nintendo game. Oh yeah, and like using the WeWork, for example, around the world. We're using WeWorks and different co-working spaces like a WeWorld, like around the world, like WeWorld, WeWorld in the world. So we want to jump around and change our locations and such things, and we're trying to get more seasoned with our global asset knowledge and mindset as well, existing global assets as the world spins, as the industries continue to turn. And we're again looking more towards the soothsayer markets to connect more so with soothsayers and the internal energy that's within humans to be able to soothsay certain items, to be able to connect kids with nonprofit organizations and adults and their parents, to be able to everybody connect to the global giving games. The global giving games, oh yeah. And a friend of mine who is a soothsayer as well is able to more so be hardcore about their own business and be able to grow in the SRF health space by connecting human touch to young kids as well, so they can also play the human games. But this helps in like birth, for example, by connecting energy from a human sense to even before certain life can occur. So we're going from all angles of the human spectrum, oh yeah, and all angles of energy, and we really need to go and re-emphasize and reiterate that connection with that fundamental pre-life aspect of focusing on that as well, these energies in all aspects of before entering life. For example, it's a poetic thing to conceptualize pre-life energy, connection, and collaboration. Oh yeah, that's where we're trying to go with this in terms of connecting kids with nonprofit organizations and all nonprofit organizations and all philanthropies and all philanthropies connecting together as one and uniting as one, oh, forevermore, and going forward through the global giving games, through games that are global giving, yeah, just like nanobots are connecting in a fundamental sense. Nanobots are also playing the global giving games, and we're all working together to be able to make the most interesting time together, connecting children and philanthropic and nonprofit organizations going forward so everyone can play the games together, yeah, on all sizes and scopes and scales. Oh yeah, we'll end this with the old Batman theme tune to close this out. Thanks again, Dinky Tehc, bye. Oh.